Many thanks for choosing us. Assin North MP James Dachi-Kwesen has pleaded not guilty to charges of forgery and perjury as he makes first court appearance in the criminal case filed against him this afternoon. And he's been granted bail in the sum of 100,000 cedis. Assin North MP, he has pleaded not guilty, and it includes forgery and deceit of a public officer. It will be recalled that the High Court in July 2021 annulled the Assin North parliamentary election, saying Mr. Kwesen was not eligible to contest the polls. Mr. Kwesen has since been legally fighting to set this aside, with the matter currently pending at the Court of Appeal. The Attorney General's office this year filed criminal charges against the legislator. Mr. Kwesen, who has not showed up in court on at least 2 occasions, was present in court today. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us with more. Akable, first, we understand the MP's legal team had attempted to halt hearing of the case. Tell us about that.
From the documents that have been filed in court, it raises some issues that we believe borders on interpretation of the Constitution. A specific reference to the claim that the MP was not eligible to contest the parliamentary elections. And so we make the point that brings issues of interpretation of portions of the Constitution, which we think the High Court does not have jurisdiction, and so the matter should be referred to the Supreme Court for interpretation. But the state legal team, led by Deputy Attorney General Osu Traditional Area, opposed that particular submission and said that it is simply a fact of evidence we let prove, and so it does not raise any matter of interpretation. The court agreed with that position and proceeded to dismiss the consent. Afterwards, it took the plea of the MP. He pleaded not guilty to what the charges leveled against him.
Now, tell us about his bail conditions, Akable.
So he's been granted bail in a sum of 100,000 cedis with a surety to be justified. I mean, shortly after proceedings, I engaged the Deputy Attorney General, who explained why he had asked that the MP should not be granted a self-recognizance bail. According to Mr. Chayabua, he explains that even getting the MP to show up in court was a bit difficult, and so he told the court that they should such conditions as are necessary, and there should be a surety so that someone is responsible for making sure that the MP comes over to court because of how he's conducted himself in the course of getting service. But the minority leader Haruna Idrisu and a host of the other MPs who joined to lend their support to the MP today, they disagree with that position. They say that as a member of parliament, they expected that he should have been served through the parliamentary process of going through the speaker and not in a manner that they attempted to do directly. And when they failed to serve him, they turn around and say that the MP is degrading the process. And so he says the MP is not scared of the law, and they simply have concerns about the process service that has been used.
Joseph Akable is our man in court. We'll bring you updates on this in our subsequent bulletins. The country director of Amnesty International, Doyle, is calling for an independent probe into the shooting and killing of 18-year-old at Lamashegu in the northern region. He says the police should not be allowed to investigate themselves in this matter. The father of the 18-year-old teenager who died in the Lamashegu shooting has expressed his anguish over the incident. Mr. Yakubu Saibu said his son Abdul Hakim Yakubu did nothing wrong, yet he was shot and killed by police officers on Sunday. According to him, since he is powerless, he puts the matter before God to give him justice. Before we bring you the Northern Regional Security Council, before we bring you his sounds, the Northern Regional Security Council has directed pathologists to conduct a post-mortem on the 14-year-old boy who was allegedly shot by the police.
Started with an attempt by the police to arrest a 24-year-old Rahman Jabir for driving an unlicensed vehicle. With total disregard for tradition, they invaded the Lamashegu Nas Palace, firing shots after they had shot Rahman. This angered the youth, who said it was not the first time such disrespect had been shown to a traditional authority in the area, leading to the violence. In a split second, some people were hit, including an 18-year-old junior high school graduate, Abdul Hakim Yakubu. at the home of the late Hakim this morning. It was a moment of grief. His father, Yakubu Shaibu, could not hold back his tears as he tried speaking to the media.
He did nothing wrong, and once he didn't do anything wrong and they killed him, I leave the matter in the hands of God. If it's power they have exhibited, for me, God is the owner of absolute power.
To help calm tempers, the Regional Security Committee met with the chief to help appeal to the youth to remain calm. But Na Zeblim Mahama had a strong word for Rexel.
Allow the police conduct their recruitment independently, just like the military. It is the protocol, and politics is destroying the service, so let this be the last that they will kill people in the area. 1 person was killed and 6 injured. We will not forgive them for killing 1 person and injuring 6.
The MP for Tamale South and NDC leader in Parliament, Harry Nedrusu, joined in the campaign to appeal to the youth to ensure there's peace in the area, but called for an end to what he said is a barbaric act of the police in the area.
What happened yesterday is the third of its kind. We saw it happen in Changi by the police take the law into their own hands. We saw it in Nakwanzo by the same police, unprofessional police, take the law into their own hands, and we saw it yesterday. Enough is enough, and enough of their unprofessional conduct, enough of the tyranny of the people of Tamale under the police. It is a sacrilege when persons empowered and mandated to keep law and order themselves are lawless and take the law into their own hands. Civil liberties remain the most primary and guarantee fundamental human rights and freedoms. The right to life. Hakim has been denied his life by our belief unjustifiably. Whilst I welcome police investigations into this matter, we will not accept anything short of justice for Hakim and the injured. I will take up this matter much more strongly tomorrow on the floor of Parliament to demand what I understand has commenced already, a full investigation into the matter.
Country Director of the Amnesty International, Frank Doyle, is calling for an independent probe into the shooting.
Is deeply concerned about the increasing rate of killing, especially acts of brutality from our law enforcement agencies. The right to life is a fundamental human right that is guaranteed by our Constitution and other laws that Ghana is a party to. And so those who have the responsibility to make sure that we are all safe and secure at all times must not be engaging in acts of violence that result in the untimely death of people. So for this particular incident, not only do we condemn it, but we are concerned that these things continue to happen in this country. And what we will call for immediately is a thorough investigation into the matter. It is good that some 6 police officers or so have been interdicted, but that should not be the end of it. We call for a thorough investigation into the matter, and all those perpetrators or those who have been involved in this act of impunity must be brought to justice. It is important that we ensure that justice is done so that such acts will not continue to occur in this generation of ours. It is about time that we called on our law enforcement agencies to ensure that they exercise due diligence in the performance of their duties and that they uphold the rights of all citizens in carrying out their work as required by law. Amnesty International has been advocating for an independent investigation body to handle cases affecting the police so that we are all sure that the matter is dealt with and brought to its logical conclusion. It will be very unfortunate, Aisha, if justice is not done in this case. And for this reason, Amnesty International is going to follow the matter very closely, as we have done in other cases, and we will ensure that justice is seen to be done. We will ensure that this matter does not die what we call a natural death.
We can now speak with Commissioner of Shura, Joseph Wittau, for more on this. I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Wittau. But the family of this young man who's been shot by police seem helpless. Are there avenues that Shura offers or mechanisms to get justice for this family?
Thank you. And maybe let me just put it in perspective. I'll speak on general terms and to indicate that this case is a very good example to highlight police accountability. We have been speaking about police accountability for a long while now. Police should not be made to investigate themselves, especially of homicides committed allegedly by their own officials. And so for us for transparency to be seen to be involved, the appropriate thing is police should not be involved in the investigation of this type of matter. And you can see from your interviewees, everybody would want an independent perspective. In other places, we have police complaints commissions. And in Ghana, we have raised it time and again. But unfortunately, we don't seem to signal government to appreciate that this is how police can do its work and be held accountable by an independent body without necessarily having they themselves having to investigate.
What's the role of Shraj in actually ensuring that this happens, especially when you've also admitted that all other interviewees want the police to be investigated by an independent body and not by themselves? What's the role of Shraj in getting all of this?
Shraj can investigate, but Shraj doesn't do criminal investigation. As the law stands now, we don't undertake criminal investigations. And so for a docket to be built, which ought to go for prosecution, it is the same police that would do that. And all that we are now signaling is about time that we have a body that can carry out investigations into police misconduct, especially regarding serious offenses such as homicide, so that there will be transparency. After that, that docket can be built differently by another body, and then the Attorney General can prosecute. Let's face it, if we can't set up an independent police complaints commission, then we should have an independent body that can investigate, build the docket, and allow the Attorney General to investigate, to prosecute when it comes to police misconduct involving homicide.
I'm grateful for your time. Joseph Wittau, Thrash Commissioner, he's been explaining why the police should not investigate itself and the reason why there must be justice for the family that has lost their 18-year-old boy through the shooting at Lamashegu. Now, Cape Coast High Court has slapped the Ghana Police Service with a 320,000 fine for the negligence of its officers over the shooting of 3 persons in a taxi cab. The officers who were pursuing goat thieves from Trifopraso fired into the thief's car. A stray bullet hit a moving taxi occupied by a couple and their daughter in the process. The bullet hit and killed Mary Abuaji, injured her husband Abuaji Ocheri, and a student on her way to school. Richard Kwejonyaku has more.
According to the plaintiffs, on the 10th of January 2019 at about 6:30 a.m., they were on board a taxi cab from Ankerford Junction in Cape Coast when they were shot at by personnel of the Ghana Police Service who said they were chasing robbers from Trifopraso. The bullets of the police strayed and hit Mary Abuaji, who later died at the hospital. The 2 other victims, Cecilia Mensah and her father, sustained varying degrees of injuries as a result of the bullet they also received. The defendants, the Ghana Police Service, told the court it deployed 5 policemen from the various police stations in the Central Region for police patrol duty at Daman near Trifopraso. Whilst on their patrol duty, they had information that there was a BMW saloon car with 4 occupants suspected to be driving recklessly. A few minutes later, the said BMW car approached the patrol team. The team signaled the driver to stop. However, he ignored the signals and sped off, nearly knocking down the policeman. The police team further indicated they noticed that the passenger on the front seat was holding an AK-47 rifle. Accordingly, they notified all the police barriers from Trifopraso to Cape Coast and proceeded to chase the said BMW car. On the outskirts of Jukwa Senior High School, the suspected robbers then began firing at the police patrol vehicle with AK-47 rifle, leaving the police no choice than to return fire. After the arrest of the suspect, a search conducted in their car revealed 6 live goats, 1 live sheep, and 5 dead goats. Justice Kwesi Boakye in his judgment indicated the judgment of the court was not meant to intimidate and lower the morale of the crime-fighting institutions in the country, such as the Ghana Police Service. He urged the Inspector General of Police to take proactive steps to sanitize the Ghana Police Service. He further noted that there was a dire need to undertake complete overhaul or re-engineer the service as far as its professional training needs and competence are concerned. He consequently awarded the first plaintiff the sum of 150,000 Ghana cedis. For Cecilia Mensah, the third plaintiff, a student of Academy of Christ the King, the judge assessed compensation payable at 60,000 Ghana cedis and ordered the defendant to pay same. He also further awarded a lump sum payment of 100,000 Ghana cedis to the estate of the deceased because her family member, Josephine Ocheri, sued as a dependent of Mary Abuaji. The court assessed cost at 10,000 Ghana cedis in favor of the plaintiffs and against the defendants. The plaintiffs were grateful to the court that at long last justice has been served.
Oh, mini bibi ameka ho. One, omo na no ma bi wo ho a, omo ye omo adwen se. Omo mpese omo ye de omo be. Because ade na si awi. Nti ade na si awi no. Ye yintimi manipa ne nsa ma bi. Nti eso omo hu se mo nipa na okoye no omo frama e wachiri. Nti de eso omo ye na se omo anye na ye da ba court na court aka se omo difa. Sa na yepe no. Because nipa no why na dwen say the oye no wonjintum. Nti court aka de ye da court ase. Wo de tie bia no. So you court aka na de agitum wo nia esi no.
Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonyaku, Cape Coast.
Richard Kwejonyaku, our correspondent in the Central Region, joins us via Zoom with more. Kwejonyaku, you've been interacting with the family. How are they receiving this fine on the police?
So it's a mixed reaction from the family. First, they indicate that, well, the case has traveled for almost 3 years, and they thank God that at least justice has been served. But on the other leg, they also believe that the compensation packages were paltry. They say that nothing could bring back the dead to life. And then it's also shattered the dreams of a lot of the people that would also have depended on these people. So it's a mixed reaction, but nonetheless, they say that justice has been.
All right, so Kojo Nyakon is our correspondent in the Central Region. He's been monitoring this for us. Kojo, if you're back, how is the police also receiving this development? Hello, Kojo Nyakon. All right, so Kojonyako is bringing us up to speed to a case that has run on for 3 years. It has to do with police shooting 3 persons that were in a taxi cab. That wasn't their target, but they negligently shot them, and one of them died. Now they've been giving a fine of 320,000 cedis. The family is indifferent about this. Kojonyako, so you were telling me about how the family is indifferent, but how is the police receiving this new development?
Well, so the Ghana Police Service was the defendant in this case. They were not present in court, but because of the principle of vicarious liability, the employer taking the sins or carrying the sins of the employee because they were under legal authority, and so they were not on a frolic of their own. And so it's the Ghana Police Service that is going to pay. They are waiting on the Ghana Police Service. When judgment is entered, they would pay the compensation packages to the affected people.
Kojonyako is a man in the central region with more on that fine on police, 320,000 for shooting and killing 1 person. The minority in parliament is accusing the Akufo-Addo-led administration of collapsing the country's cocoa sector. The minority alleges that in spite of several loan agreements approved by parliament for the purchase of cocoa beans to shore up cocoa production, Cocoa Board and its allied agencies are unable to purchase cocoa from the farmers, a situation they believe has contributed to the sharp decline in cocoa production. Ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kasiel Atofolson, has been speaking to the press.
There are some few developing issues, not only the e-levy issues in Parliament, but the issues within the cocoa sector that in the current days we have been worried about. We are hearing that Cocoa Board is not even able to buy up to 42% of what was purchased last year around the same time. So far, figures from the Ghana Cocoa Board themselves suggest that they've bought so far 408,000 metric tons of cocoa, as against almost 600,000 metric tons, same period last year. We are worried because we believe that around this time, because Parliament approved for Ghana Cocoa Board to borrow an amount for the purposes of buying cocoa. We are hearing from the cocoa buying areas that people are ready to sell their cocoa, but the cocoa buyers, in fact, the purchasing companies do not have the money to buy the cocoa for the purposes of supplying to the state and for the state to be able to satisfy the conditions of their contract. So we can only be worried, and many more. And we're also seeing an upsurge of cocoa bills being cocoa loans that this government, within a short period of time, they've been able to contract. We've seen numbers that suggest that Cocoa Board owns in excess of 12 billion Ghana cedis from the 1 billion that they inherited. And this is becoming a matter of major concern to us. Look, the fact is, the economy of Ghana is sick, and we need to come together to help solve it. It is not a party's problem, one political party's problem. It's a problem that all of us has to come together and solve. We know this is actually being occasioned by one party's singular mismanagement, but doesn't mean they are the ones that should solve it alone. We believe as a political party, we are a major stakeholder in the management of this country, and so we are ready. We are well positioned, and we believe that if this government calls upon us, we would lend our intellect and our support to the building of this country.
Inadequate and delayed food supply to senior high schools have been a major challenge inhibiting the smooth implementation of the government's free SHS policy. The head of assisted secondary schools, Charles, says the struggle to feed students affects the effectiveness of managing their schools. Charles President Alhaji Yakubu Abubakar says schools also have to contend with inadequate furniture and dining halls. There's more in the following report.
The Minister of Education has been meeting with Charles and heads of technical and vocational schools in Kumasi. The meeting is to afford the managers of schools an opportunity to engage the minister on challenges in running schools for possible redress. President of Charles, Alhaji Yakubu Abubakar, says proper planning and strict adherence for food supply schedules to senior high schools is the way to go.
School reopened, it is a week now, and we have received some amount of food in our schools, but not the full complement, of course. So he's working to see how we can get everything in our schools. Ideally, we should have received these things before school reopened, but given some challenges here and there, it has delayed. But we have started receiving it. Some schools this morning are receiving rice and all sorts of items so that we can get the system moving. We've already made them aware that we need to sit and do proper planning and ensure that some of these things go to the schools before school reopen. That way you can do a better management of your school. Or else for now, you will find a lot of heads engaged in the issues of food, when heads should rather concentrate to see how they can get quality outcomes as far as education is concerned at our school levels. So we are hoping that the authorities will listen to us, and moving forward, it wouldn't happen this way again. Before the schools reopen, food are brought to the school, monies are brought to the school, then we can take off very smoothly.
Alhaji Abubakar also lamented inadequate furniture and dining facilities for students.
The other important issues, which were especially furniture. Some schools cannot even receive Form 1s if they are not supplied with furniture before the Form 1s come to school. We've made them aware of that. Beds in the various dormitories are also in short supply. We've drawn their attention to that. Then benches and tables at the dining hall. You know, previously, parents were helping us to get these things all. But with the inception of the free HSS, it is now the burden on government to provide all these. So we've made them aware that they should ensure that we get this, or else the Form 1s may come to school and they will not have furniture to sit in the classrooms. They will be in the dormitories and will not have bed to sleep on. And we don't like such a thing to happen. The minister here too has given us the assurance that they will work and ensure that these things are brought to the schools before the 4th of April, when the Form 1s will be expected in our schools.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Edichum, says the issues raised are of much concern to the ministry. He promised immediate action to address them.
We are all coming up with new ways of making sure that they get the resources that they need to run their schools well. Of course, like any human institution, some may talk about when is the food distribution, and we set up a system that will enable us to track the food distribution. One thing that is going to be done this year is that we are now going to give them the list of all the food items that they should be receiving. So if the items are not in, they will be able to know that we're supposed to get 1,000 bags of rice, we have this amount, and therefore the buffer stock should be giving us the remainder, and then we can all work together on it. So that's a new way of doing business in terms of food supply in our schools. So that is one area where we've come to a very good agreement as to how to move things in the coming year.
The minister will be meeting with heads of technical and vocational schools.
And so to come in business, the National Union of Ghana Students introduces vocational and entrepreneurship training for students in tertiary institutions. There's more shortly after this break.
% of graduates find
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The National Union of Ghana Students has introduced a vocational and entrepreneurship training for students in tertiary institutions to reduce graduate unemployment. President Emmanuel Boakye-Adom explains a comprehensive plan has been drawn to ensure all students acquire technical and vocational skills to complement their fields of study. Nanaya Aljima has more in the following report.
data from the Institute of Statistics, Social and Economic Research of the University of Ghana shows only 10% of graduates find jobs within their first year after completing school. The data also indicates it takes up to 10 years for majority of graduates to secure employment. The research ascribed the challenge to lack of employable skills, among others, as the reasons. President of NUCS, Emmanuel Boakye-Adom, says dealing with impediments that delay employment of graduates is the goal of the Entrepreneurship and Skills Development Office of the Union.
You see, this is something that teaches a skill, something that teaches something specific. Now, for instance, with the soap making liquid soap and others. Now, if you're able to learn it, you're able to learn it well, practice it well, produce good and better materials, I believe you can be able to sell it to earn a living. Now, those that learn something about pastry making with the meat pie and others, these are stuff that we buy them on the street almost every day.
Through the Entrepreneurship and Skills Development Office, some students in tertiary institutions in the Asante Mampong enclave have received some vocational training. Mr. Boachi Yadom again.
So we are looking at they trying to start these things themselves. We taught our colleagues how to do these basic stuff such that they need little or they require little capital to start themselves up when they want to embark on it.
Meanwhile, Principal of St. Monica's College of Education, Dr. David Ochre-Kranche, believes development of such skill will be beneficial to students.
And as an institution like this, we buy soap in large quantities for our cleaning purposes. And if our students can even put themselves together, even at the department, and produce the soap, then we can put them into a company, initiate the procurement process here so that they will grow.
Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, back here in Accra, the Paramount Chief of Osu Traditional Area, Noche Ninote Owo IV, has pledged to partner businesses to provide jobs in the community. According to him, partnerships are the way forward to create jobs and development. Speaking to Joy Business after an official visit by Essential Energy, Ninote Owo IV called on both local and international businesses to invest to move forward the agenda for a better generation.
A suburb of Accra is known for its busy commercial, restaurant and nightlife activities. The newly installed Paramount Chief of Osu, Noche Ninote Owo IV, called on local and international businesses to invest in the area. Speaking on the sidelines of a visit by Essential Energy, Ninote Owo indicated that the strategic partnership is the way to improve the lives of the people of Osu.
We look forward to partnering with you in various ways, as we are helpful to you and you are helpful to us in growing Osu in all our towns and making sure our people gain as much as they can. I would like to highlight two parts, and I'll make it clear that two areas where Osu really needs help is education and employment. And now we have teeming youths out there, both young men and women who have no jobs, who have no prospects in life, who have no skills to do anything. I'm looking to you and the entire business community to come join us, find ways of training them, because when they get skills, they're not only beneficial to us, but they're beneficial to you, because you have a trained and knowledgeable labor force you can rely on to do your work.
General Manager for Essential Energy, Kofi Ankama, pledged as Outfit Alliance to support Osu.
So the essence of our visit is to pay homage to the Osu stool and also introduce our company, which has been in operation for the past 2 years. But as the king happens to be a friend, and as he has been given this opportunity, we see it fit to come and pay respects. So the essence of this is to also see the opportunities that lies for both us and the Osu Kingdom. And as the king mentioned, I think it's very paramount that we come together and help the community. As he has come in, we should make sure that we do the right thing to assist.
The Osu community believes this can be feasible when the youth support developmental project.
Small business news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business, including the cedi depreciating 4.70% to the dollar in only 45 days of 2022. You want to read more about that on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Up next, sports.
Let's do sports now on Joy News today. I am Wittau Nabila Abdulai. The Ghana Boxing Promoters Association is unhappy with the Ghana Boxing Authority in the wake of the rumored 300% increase in boxing license fees. Promoters pay 500 Ghana cedis annually to have their license renewed, but that amount has been reportedly increased by 1,500 Ghana cedis. President of the Ghana Boxing Promoters Association, Alex Ntiamwa, is a worried man.
There are rumors that the fees have been increased over 300%. We are just coming from COVID. It's very hard even to get by with sponsors. and we are coming out from COVID. What informed the decision of the increment?
Intentional.
It was intentional because the GBA want to get the promoters out of the business so that they can connive with IMAS to monopolize the promotional space. And this is worrisome for promoters because we have held the fort for boxing in Ghana. Some of us, we have deep down to our pockets to be able to push boxing to this level so that in future, a sponsor or a media company can come in. In this case, we, because we've not gotten the fees, we assume that the old fees are still in force. And so some of us, even if you go to the GBA today to do transaction, if the president is not there, you cannot do any transaction. Per the GBA constitution, per the constitution, the secretary, the general secretary is the head of the secretariat. He runs the day-to-day affairs of the GBA. Today, when you go there, I went there yesterday to pay my, to renew my license. And I was told by the acting secretary general that the receipt has been locked in the president's office. And so he cannot do, he has no jurisdiction over those things. He has no power over those things, so he cannot do anything for me. For me to see that they have given out a press release, putting us as people who are not in good standing. So I went to the bank this morning to pay into the GBA account and deposited the receipts to an official at the GBA office. And to my surprise, I learned the president took the receipts and he threw the receipts out from the office. And he went to the bank, the ADB, to instruct them that they should reverse the monies that I have paid, the money that I have paid for my license renewal. Where is this done in the world? Of which even the ADB officials came to me that I should come and collect the money. And I requested that they put on paper that this is the instruction that the president has given out.
Let's do something that has to do with sporting infrastructure. Across the country, questions have been surrounding Ghana's sporting infrastructure because anytime it rains, most facilities get flooded, with many describing them as rice farms. Well, the whole sports stadium has become the recent one where about after 15 minutes of rain in a match involving Home Stars and Ghana Black Starlets, the facility became flooded, and within 10 minutes into the game, the match was called off. Well, referee Rostum Sogone ended the match due to the severity of the rain and the waterlogged state of the pitch. There's more in this report.
Sections of the deteriorated pitch could best be described as dams as they got flooded with large volumes of water. Spectators did not mind words subjecting sport authorities in the region to rebuke, expressing their disgust and disappointment in the authorities for renting the pitch for all kinds of events.
Come and see the sports stadium. 20,000. Come and see our stadium. A day of shame for voter reading. A day of shame for voter reading.
Some irate spectators who demanded a refund of the ticket fee locked the main gate and held hostage some management members of Home Stars FC. They prevented them from leaving the stadium until their 5 Ghana cedis each is refunded.
This is the only regional park we have. This is the only regional park we have. And the regional minister and the council is very much aware that this is the only thing that makes we Rotarians very happy. This park, this is how we enjoy football. But they have decided to use the church, the park, for a church auditorium. They have done series of meetings on this stadium, and they have refused to do the stadium. The regional minister promised us that after the function, he promised us that they are going to do the park. But until now, they don't do it.
The hold-up degenerated into fisticuffs between the protesters and some spectators who attempted to force their way through the gates. Calm was restored after about 5 minutes of a free-for-all fight. The disappointed football lovers implored stakeholders to immediately commence renovation on the pitch or face their wrath. The game was, however, played on Monday. The Black Starlets won 2-0. Andrew Sapia and Douglas Owusu scored to secure a win over Hope-based Division 2 side, Home Stars FC. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Hunger for success, but the facilities are not supporting the hunger for that success. This is how we wrap up sports here on Joy News today with me, Wittau. Up next is World News.